The Express Rail Link goes into operation. Teething problems on the local section of the high-speed rail network. And Taiwan deports back to the U.S. a Texan man who runs a 3D printed gun company.
Good evening. The West Kowloon Station took center stage today as high-speed trains to and from the mainland entered service. After 8 years, the controversial Express Rail Link finally materialized amid construction delays and cost overruns. Our reporter Elmi Lung took the first train to find out what passengers think of the project.
The first doors at West Kowloon Station opened at 5 a.m. sharp.
I didn't get sleep. I just drink a cup of coffee, and I think I'm ready to experience this historical moment.
A moment 8 years in the making, including the controversial co-location arrangement. It's one where mainland laws apply in parts of the station inside the mainland port area. While critics said that contravenes the city's basic law, some passengers today treated this controversial border as no more than a photo opportunity. The first high-speed train opened to the public departed Hong Kong at 7 o'clock this morning. More than 570 seats were sold out on the Hong Kong-owned Vibrant Express. Among its first passengers, this 70-year-old front in line when tickets opened for sale weeks ago.
I like very beautiful.
Unfortunately, there's little chance of taking photos of the scenery outside as local tracks are all underground.
Passengers on high-speed trains won't be able to choose their seats because they've all been assigned automatically. So whether you get a window seat like me or an aisle seat, it really depends on luck.
Trains can reach a maximum speed of around 350 kilometers an hour and 200 kilometers per hour tops on the local section. 19 minutes after it left Hong Kong, the G5736 train arrived at Shenzhen North Station. So quick that this man said he barely had time to finish the conversation with his wife before getting off. Elmi Leung, TVB News.
Well, our Pinky Wong has been down at West Kowloon Station all day today. Pinky, tell us more about the operations there today.
Right now, I'm at the ticket hall. While the MTR Corporation and local officials hope all passengers can enjoy the service, it wasn't the case. Chaos broke out when some counters were overcrowded, and some passengers failed to claim tickets purchased online. Today marked the opening of the local section of the Guangzhou-Shenzhen-Hong Kong Express Rail Link, and the government has high hopes for the railway. Transport Chief Frank Chan described the rail link as an infrastructure that people can be proud of, and he urged the public to be tolerant on the first day of its operation. But there were some dissatisfied passengers at West Kowloon Station. These two passengers couldn't get on the train because their luggage exceeded the size limit. They claimed they didn't know the rules.
No regulation mentioned to anyone.
So are you not happy with what?
For sure not happy. You see everyone happy here? No, now I have a flight. What should I do? I need to go there in 1 hour and I cannot catch the flight.
Some passengers encountered ticketing problems, including those who ordered through China Railway's website. They had to process their order at these 5 counters operated by China Railway, and some had waited for around 2.5 hours. The queue of passengers stretched all the way from the ticketing concourse to this point where the restaurants are located. Passengers whose train were leaving within 45 minutes but still had not collected their tickets were allowed to board just by showing their booking reference numbers. And for this man, although he purchased tickets through the MTR Corporation, he still failed to get his tickets at the ticket machines.
We encourage our passengers to come to the station early to either buy or collect tickets. We are also at the same time working with our partner, China Rail Corporation, to see how we can enhance the service quality through those counters.
The MTR Corporation also admitted that some high-speed trains were delayed and left with only emergency lighting because of unstable power supply. The rail giant said the problem was caused by heavy rain this morning. We've just learned that Chief Executive Carrie Lam will be here in any minute. It is expected she's here to take a look at the service commencement date of the Express Rail Link, but we're unsure of how long she will stay. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, that is our Pinky Wong down at the West Kowloon terminus this afternoon. The tourism industry is also having high hopes for the new rail link as the network covers popular destinations on the mainland. Kena Chu tells us more.
Some travelers couldn't hold their excitement before their trips kicked off.
I arrived 2 hours earlier than the normal gathering hours to have a look on this station, dreaming of taking this first day train, long ago.
At least 10 tours set off to major cities on the mainland today, including Changsha, Fuzhou, and even cities farther away. And this agency said it has arranged more than 100 tour packages with popular destinations such as Guangxi and Guizhou.
Cover many very popular destinations for Hong Kong market like Qiuqiao, Fujian, Changsha, Wuhan. So I would assume that would be 20 to 30% increase compared to last year to all these destinations.
He said the Travel Industry Council will continue negotiating with the MTR Corporation for more ticket allocations for tours. One travel agency here also offers package tours to Guilin. Obviously, you can go further than that and head all the way to the capital on a direct train from West Kowloon Station. The first high-speed train to Beijing set off at 8:05 this morning, which took 9 hours though.
Train is much more comfortable. Here I have a lot of space to sit.
The downside is that phone signals and the internet network could be quite weak when the trains pass through tunnels. Kena Chu, TVB News.
In other news, the Vatican has signed an agreement with China that gives Beijing the power to appoint Roman Catholic bishops. But critics are slamming the deal as a sellout to the communist government.
Beijing had long insisted that it must approve the appointments of all bishops in China. But that clashed with the Vatican's rule of having absolute papal authority to pick bishops. The Chinese Foreign Ministry confirmed the Vatican has agreed to accept 7 bishops who were previously named by Beijing without the Pope's consent. The deal may have resolved their decades-old rift, but critics see it as a worrisome compromise.
The objective of the accord is not political, but it's pastoral. What that means is that the faithful in China, that they have bishops who are in communion with the Pope, but at the same time recognized by the Chinese authorities.
The Vatican spokesman insists the deal took 3 decades to negotiate.
While it's come to fruition under Pope Francis, Pope Benedict had a letter to Chinese Catholics in 2007. He was working for the same goal. John Paul II had made legitimate a number of illegitimately ordained bishops. So this is really the work of 30 years and 3 pontificates.
But Cardinal Joseph Zen from Hong Kong expressed disgust.
It's a complete surrender. It's a betrayal. They're giving the flock into the mouth of the wolves.
Zen says approving 7 bishops controlled by a communist government makes Pope Francis a sellout.
How can you make those 7 people shepherds of the flock? Incredible.
The agreement is sure to anger some Catholics on the mainland who advocated for the Vatican to fight for its flock of 12 million. Catholic clergy and the faithful there have suffered persecution and imprisonment over the years. This is why Vatican China expert Father Bernardo Cervellera demands to know what will happen to all the priests and bishops China put in prison or under house arrest. Catholics in China say President Xi Jinping is currently waging the most systematic suppression of Christianity. They insist Xi is trying to infuse all religions in China with Chinese characteristics, such as loyalty to the Communist Party. The agreement did not mention Taiwan. The island's foreign ministry issued a statement saying it trusts the Holy See will ensure Catholics in China are protected.
Authorities in Taiwan have deported to the United States a man who's wanted over allegations he had sex with an underage girl. A 30-year-old Texan is also at the center of a legal battle over his plan to publish instructions for the manufacture of 3D printed plastic guns. Taiwanese immigration officers escorted Cody Wilson to Taoyuan International Airport today and put him on a flight back to the United States. Wilson flew to Taiwan earlier this month before investigators in America obtained a warrant for his arrest. He was arrested in a Taipei hotel 2 days ago. This after U.S. authorities made a formal request for cooperation and provided Taiwanese officials with documents suggesting the suspect's passport had been annulled. Taiwan does not have an extradition treaty with the United States. Wilson was ordered to leave the island because he no longer has a valid travel document.
To the Maldives, where voting is underway in a highly criticized election that's being closely watched by China. Today's vote pits President Abdullah Yameen over longtime Member of Parliament Ibrahim Mohamed Solih. President Yameen is being criticized for his crackdown on dissent and for jailing nearly all of his political rivals. He's embraced China for signing a free trade agreement and lending money to build major projects. Opposition candidate Solih has vowed to restore democracy and release jailed dissidents. Still, experts say Yameen is expected to cement his grip on power.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has accused the United States of being a bully that wants to create insecurity in his country. Comments come a day after an attack on a military parade that killed 25 people and injured dozens more. Peter Koveas tells us more.
Hassan Rouhani accused U.S.-backed Gulf Arab states of providing financial and military support for anti-government ethnic Arab groups. The Iranian president spoke before leaving Tehran to attend the UN General Assembly in New York. His comments came after a deadly attack at a military parade marking the anniversary of the start of the 1980-88 Iran-Iraq War. Dozens were killed when gunmen disguised as soldiers opened fire. An Iranian ethnic Arab opposition movement called Avaz National Resistance claimed responsibility. The group wants a separate state in oil-rich Khuzestan province and says Iran's government discriminates against them. Islamic State militants also claim responsibility. Political analyst Mohammad Garawi believes Iran will respond and not stay silent over the attack. Politically, they have made a move. Iran summoned the envoys of the Netherlands, Denmark, and Britain over the shooting, accusing them of harboring Iranian opposition groups in their countries. Meanwhile, the United States condemned the attack despite the harsh words from Rouhani. Peter Koveos, TVB News.
The death toll from that tragic boat accident in Tanzania has climbed to more than 200. Miraculously, one survivor was found days after the vessel capsized. Crews rushed to bring the man on shore. He survived by shutting himself in the engine room of the boat. Earlier this week, the overcrowded ferry capsized on Lake Victoria. It had a capacity of about 100 people, but some reports claim that more than 300 were on board. The country's president has ordered the arrest of the people responsible.
And still ahead in our newscast, Charles Kao, the father of fiber optics, dies. The Chinquano Promenade reopens after cleanup efforts in the wake of severe Typhoon Mangkhut. And a mass jump to commemorate a World War II operation over the Netherlands.
Welcome to our lounge. Enjoy your stay. Thanks very much.
Find calm in over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. It's another way we've got your back. The Platinum Card from American Express. Don't live life without it.
Welcome back to TVB News. Tributes are pouring in tonight for Nobel laureate Charles Kao. The father of fiber optics passed away today in Hong Kong at the age of 84. Haley Joe reports.
Born in Shanghai, Charles Kao made Hong Kong his home since the 1940s. He obtained his undergraduate degree in England and went on to complete his doctorate in electrical engineering at University College London. Upon his return, Kao founded the Department of Electronics at the Chinese University of Hong Kong in 1970. From 1987, he led the institution as its vice-chancellor, a position he held until his retirement in 1996. Known as the father of fiber optics, he laid the groundwork for high-speed data communications.
In the 1960s, our children were small. Charles often came home later than normal. Dinner was waiting, as were the children. I got very annoyed with him when this happened day after day. His words, maybe not exactly remembered, were, "Please don't be so mad. It is very exciting what we are doing. It will shake the world one day." I was sarcastic. "Oh, really? So you'll get the Nobel Prize, will you?"
He did in 2009. Most of his $700,000 prize was set aside to treat his Alzheimer's disease. The Charles K. Kao Foundation for Alzheimer's Disease was established in 2010. Haley Zhou, TVB News.
The Chinquano Promenade reopened today. The coastal promenade was torn up by severe Typhoon Mangkhut. Most of the walkways and cycling paths were blocked by downed trees and destroyed pavement. After a 5-day cleanup with many volunteers taking part, walkways are mostly cleared of debris. But it will take more time and repair work for the facilities to fully return to normal.
Former head of the observatory is suggesting having fewer or smaller glass windows in new buildings as the region may face more super typhoons in the future. Caleb Bloom has more.
Mangkhut, one of the strongest typhoons to hit Hong Kong, left a trail of destruction in the territory. As the world continues to emit greenhouse gases, a former director of the observatory has warned of even more powerful typhoons in the future.
Through the greenhouse effect, it warms up the atmosphere and also the sea. And with a warm sea and the water vapor that goes with it, it gives a lot of energy to tropical cyclones, and therefore drives them with great force and become super typhoons.
Lam said typhoon-related damage is unavoidable, but he suggested some precautionary measures such as reducing the use of glass windows.
In applying more and more glass to our structures, it is exposing us to a higher degree of risk. So I think a reasonable direction in the future would be to see whether we could reduce the amount of glass in buildings.
On suggestions that the observatory should not rush into replacing the number 8 warning signal with a lower one when public transport is not ready to quickly return to normal, Lam said the decision should only be based on scientific data. He said the observatory can only lower the warning signal once the wind has subsided. Caleb Loong, TVB News.
And the skies above the Netherlands were filled with parachutists on Saturday. 1,000 military personnel were released onto a drop zone in memory of the largest airborne battle in history. Soldiers from 8 different countries participated in the Falcon Leap exercise. This includes the Netherlands, Britain, and the United States. The event marks 74 years since the Battle of Arnhem in World War II. In 1944, Operation Market Garden was launched. The goal was to open up a land route for the Allied forces into Nazi Germany's industrial heartland. More than 2,000 troops took part in the mission more than 70 years ago. That operation ultimately failed, but this mission, more than 7 decades later, was a success. And that is a